What's up guys, Travis from AmericanTrucks.com. If you're looking for the most affordable replacement upgrade taillights for your 07 to 13 Silverado, then you found it. These are the Axial black LED taillights featuring some pretty nice clear lenses, and at around the $200 price point, these are hands down going to be the least expensive way to throw on a nice new set of taillights on your Silverado. Goes without saying, if your current lights are busted up, maybe the housings are cracked or faded or whatever, these are going to cost way less than picking up a pair of replacements from the factory. And because we're going from original bulbs to LEDs, which by the way feature a really nice voltage regulator / resistor on them, these are going to last around 100,000 hours. That's a really nice improvement compared to the factory bulbs, which again, they kind of fade in and fade out. Sometimes they burn out after a while. They just don't last that long. So these are going to be a one-time investment for the life of your truck. And the other thing to think about as well is how difficult it actually is to convert from those bulbs to LEDs. Normally you have to install all kinds of crazy stuff. You got to splice wires, you do have to throw a regulator in there of some sort, but Axial is nice enough to do all that for us. We're pretty much using a pigtail harness on the LED itself, plugs directly into the bulb socket. That's pretty creative and useful, which means you get away with installing these with nothing more than a Phillips head screwdriver. So for that reason, I'm going to give the install a very simple 1 out of 3 wrenches on the old difficulty meter. Guys, if you've never turned wrenches on your truck, or if you're kind of worried about wiring and lighting, this is going to be the perfect way to get your feet wet. I'm a real fan of these because they're modern, they're minimalist. I like the black housing on them. Gives it kind of a blackout look, but they are DOT and SAE compliant, so you're good on inspection in all 50 states, which makes these perfect if you're going for something like a blackout build. So again, if you're looking for the most affordable taillights, you want a nice modern upgrade for your Silverado, Axial's got you covered with these really wicked looking LED black taillights with these cool clear lenses. Check them out a little bbit more on the site. If you decide to stick with these options over the more expensive ones, come back and I'll show you all the tools you need to get out, and I'm going to show you how to get these things bolted on and wired up in just a minute. All right, like I said, installing your taillights is incredibly simple, guys. All you're going to need for this is a Phillips head screwdriver. All right, guys, first thing you got to do, obviously go ahead and get your taillights out of the box. Then all you really need is a Phillips head screwdriver. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start on our driver's side. Obviously, you can do either side, up to you, but your taillights are secured at 4 points. You got 2 screws on the inside here. Just pop the tailgate down, get those screws out, and then you can actually pop the taillight out of the bed itself. There's 2 little pins on the back here. You guys can't see them off camera, but you just got to apply gentle pressure to the taillight directly back towards the tailgate so you don't bend anything. They should pop right out, then we can disconnect the wiring harness. Okay, so these are the little push pins that I was talking about that secure inside of the bed. These are what retains the taillight. Once you remove those 2 screws, you don't want to bend or break any of these, and there's also some grommets on the inside of there. You don't want to break those either, so like I said, just be very careful pulling the light out straight back. Once you've done that, we have our exposed wiring harness here. We have 3 sockets with 3 bulbs. The top is our brake light as well as the bottom. The bottom is going to be our main relay. That's where we're going to be plugging in our LEDs, so go ahead and retain that one. You can pop the bulb out of here and just discard the bulb if you need to. Go ahead and do the same for the other 2, but we're not going to be popping the bulb out of our reverse light because we are going to be reusing him. You can do the same for the 3rd brake light. You can pop the bulb out. There's actually a connection on the back of the new tail light. Even though we're not using this one, we're still going to secure it. That way we don't get any dust or anything in there while it's not in use. All right, so we got our factory taillights removed. Quick little comparison here. That way you guys can get a better idea of how these are supposed to look compared to the original counterparts. And obviously the big thing here is we're going way more modern, and we're going with that Euro style here. These almost have kind of that Altezza style to them. Some of you might hate it, some of you might like it, but regardless, it's a drastic departure from our old and busted here. We got tons of crazy red reflectors on this thing. These are massive red taillights. They're kind of 90s. I don't like them personally. I think this is a nice little upgrade here. And then of course, we're also going from original bulbs to nice bright modern LEDs. They turn on and off instantly. They even have a nice voltage regulator here. This thing is actually IP68 waterproof rated, so this is going to regulate your voltage. It's also going to help control any heat that builds up inside the housing, so these lights are going to run for quite a while. They're not going to have that fade in and fade out effect like these old school bulbs have. And then of course, we're getting rid of all the red reflectors in favor of a nice understated black housing. We do have 1 small red reflector up here. It's a little bit darker than the original one, so it doesn't stand out as much. Nice chrome reflector reflectors here on the LEDs. That's what really makes them way brighter. And then also we have DOT and SAE certification because we have a clear lens on here. Don't have to worry about any smoke or tint when it comes time for inspection. So go ahead and ditch your old and busted. We can get rid of these. Let's go ahead and throw these new guys in place and figure out how our wiring harnesses are supposed to go in. Back to the wiring harness here. So again, just to recap, we're going to be reusing our reverse light. You can pop him in first. He's going to go in the bottom socket here. You just kind of have to rotate these around a little bit until you get them to line up. Do a nice little rotation to lock them in place. Then grab the relay slash harness for the actual LEDs, and you're going into the bottom socket for the brake light. It has more wires going into it than the top one. The top one's not going to be used. So go ahead and plug him into the socket like so. He just presses in like the bulb does. And then this third unused one, we don't want this to get a bunch of dust and stuff inside of there. So they were nice enough to actually include a kind of dead connection, if you will. Just go ahead and pop him in there and keep him in place. That's going to stop him from getting messed up. Then lastly, we have our voltage regulator slash our resistor. They have some 3M tape on the back here. You guys can peel this off. I recommend just sticking it right down here behind the bumper. You have a nice flat surface that you can mount him to. You can really put it anywhere you want to. I wouldn't recommend trying to put it inside the housing area. You'll have some fitment issues in there, but definitely down here near the bumper should be just fine. Once you have all that stuff in place, go ahead and line up the 2 pins on the taillight housing with the little rubber grommets on the bed and press it in place. All right, once you have the housing situated, go ahead and reinstall the screws that we removed earlier. Holes should line up just fine. If they don't line up perfectly, you can actually pull the riv nuts slash speed clips off the back and resituate them so you can get slightly better clearance on these screws before you drive them home. I do recommend hand tightening this stuff first, just to make sure that the threads catch. All right guys, so once you got one side done, go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Get both of the taillights bolted in place. Then all you need to do is double check your clearance with your tailgate, make sure they can close nicely. Go ahead and grab the keys, do a quick little function check. That should wrap up this install, and that'll also wrap up my review of the Axial black LED taillights featuring these really cool clear lenses and fitting your 07 to 13 Silverado. Be sure to check them out more on the site and keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.